But when would I do it? And it's exactly 6:16, so here we go. The sun is right here. That's okay. It's that time of year. All right, in that case, we are probably on right now. I am guessing. Oh, someone just told you?
No, just probably.
So let's just start with candles. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to everyone who is watching. It's great to have Molly and Caroline with us on this Shabbat. In simpler times, this would have been this week or next week of our youth group leading Shabbat services. Our youth groupers are all over at home, who knows? But we are lucky enough to have Caroline Sloter and Molly Zimmerman. Caroline, who is the president of our youth group this year, and will be Religious and Cultural Vice President for Nifty, Texas, Oklahoma region. And my daughter Molly, who was the Religious and Cultural Nifty Vice President last year and will be the Programming Vice President. So congratulations to both of you helping us with services. And I also want to give a shout out to Leah Kreindler, who will be the new 50 President and will need your help to work with others. If you have a teen who's ready to help out as we get people back in the habit of being together in the fall, we can always use your help. Before I share any more, you're not here, but what you can tell is that when they built our sanctuary, they built it with these beautiful windows that come right in on the bima, and it's wonderful, but they didn't necessarily study the pattern of the sun. So on Friday nights at certain times of the year, you can truly see the light. On the other hand, on Saturday mornings, it comes in and blinds some of the bar mitzvah family. So you can tell it's that, even though you're not here, you can tell it's that time of year. You can see the light. It's good it's blinding me and not our singers and prayer leaders. It'll go in a few minutes. But that's my segue to say that we will begin with the lighting of Shabbat candles. Thank you. From one type of light to another.
Baruch atah Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. If you are at home, we want to wish you, if you're having your dinner while you're watching, we want to wish you Shabbat Shalom. Also, the candles and l'chaim, if you have your wine or challah, we're going to continue with our service. A couple quick things as we begin. The first is, it is May, and we are reading from Torah in a little bit, from Kedoshim. So if you have a birthday and you want to hear your name called out, my cell phone number is 214-762-7856. I'm going to say that one more time. So if you have a family member, a loved one, yourself, and you would like to hear your name when we offer you a blessing for a year of health and strength, you can just send me your name, 214-762-7856. A lot of people did this a few weeks ago, so we shall see. So yes, birthday blessings when we read from Torah. Our Torah portion is Kedoshim. Our Torah portion means holiness. And in a little bit in our service, Molly will share her Devar Torah. She and the president of Nifty Torah have been writing a Divrei Torah during this entire pandemic period, and she'll hone in on a very specific part of this Torah portion. But quick Torah portion trivia. This Torah portion, it begins with Leviticus chapter 19. It is in the exact center of the Torah portion, the exact center of the whole Torah. It is unique because it is known by the name holiness, and it is known by the name holiness because it is one of the only portions where a reason is given, where God says, keep these laws so you can be holy, just like I'm holy. And it has a variety of different prayers, from keeping of the Sabbath to fearing of parents. It has rules about boundaries, sexual boundaries, farming boundaries, clothing we wear, how to live, how to treat the needy, how to live justly, all thrown together. And the rabbis spend a lot of time saying, how do we frame this Torah portion? What holds it together? And there are challenging parts we can agree with, parts that confuse us, but that overreaching idea, I think that overarching idea of holiness, how do we act holy? How do we aspire to be more like God? And so in these challenging times, we have to remember that every response is within us. We are none of us all good or all bad. All of us has urges, desires, ways to live, but we are called upon to try our best. And as the weeks of stay at home turn into months, we have to remember to try our best, to see the holiness in others, to see the holiness in people we disagree with, to aspire to be holy, to aspire to have holy communities, to live that way. This is a challenging Shabbat for us because a camp that is very dear to the hearts of many of us is required to close for the summer. And we hope that as the summer goes on and as we hope the numbers eventually start to recede, there may be opportunities for our teens and our children to join together, to sing for Shabbat, to see one another. We pray for that. We hope for those opportunities. But we know that an important place has been lost. And we know that many, many other camps are closing as well. Israel trips in the conservative movement and the Orthodox movement. So our prayers go out to all who miss those moments, who will lose those opportunities. And yet we know that while Green Family Camp holds a light of holiness, that's what it aspires to do, to create holy communities. We know that those lessons can be with us wherever we are. And so we're honored to have Molly and Caroline with us with a little bit more of an influence on camp tunes, with the idea that holiness is attainable, even when our holiest places are unattainable in the short term. And so as we turn to the Misha Berach, you can find it on page 371 in the prayer book. A reminder that some of you do have those flip books at home. Page 389 on the flip book. If you're on one, you go down, you type in the numbers at the bottom, you press it, and it takes you to the prayer. And you can join with us as we offer prayers of healing for Annette Dover, Charlotte Fiwas, Stacy Lewis, Jeffrey Mark, Maria Schoen, Graham Baker, Elliot Blumberg, Katrina Joy Rogers, Eddie Sankery, Debbie Friedman, Claire Brunhild, Mike Fox, Ann Westerman, William Westerman, Robert Bogan, Ellen Alcon, Christopher Long, Brandon Levy, Leslie Arnov, Ellen Mack, Ted Mack, Karen Delavan, Scott Price, and the 1,400 Texans and thousands of others around the country who were diagnosed today with the coronavirus, and around the world, a prayer for healing.
was an excerpt I really liked from Facing Illness, Finding God, which is a cool book. The most important phrase in the Misha Berach is complete healing, refuah shlema in Hebrew. People may use this term when wishing someone well who they know is ill, such as, I hope you have a refuah shlema. Its common use as a Hebrew phrase by itself indicates that it has more than one definition in English. It implies an entire concept of what healing might mean. Refuah shlema means that healing is not only about healing the body, but also about healing the soul, the immaterial aspect of a person's being. The anonymous author of this prayer believed it so much that the healing of the soul is listed first, before that of the body. Complete healing, refuah shlema, includes both, and one without the other is incomplete. As we are in the middle of a pandemic right now and we all have to stay inside and alone, I hope we can all remember to focus on our mental health and our mental and spiritual healing as much as that of those who need physical healing.
As we've transitioned toward the Baruch Hu, we're on page 145, 163 in the flip book. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days. Lest my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways.
share this reading from this book. It's called Witnesses to the One, The Spiritual History of the Shema by Rabbi Joseph B. Mesler. And there's this chapter about Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel, and I found a really cool passage about the way that he saw spirituality in the Shema. When one hears the term spirituality today, too often is it simply a colorful term that covers for self-absorption. The idea of contemplating the love of God in complete isolation from others, trying to hear God's voice, is not what Abraham Joshua Heschel or the prophets of Judaism had in mind. Meditation is only a prelude to action. One enters into true spirituality with an ethical stance, knowing that deeds of righteousness are a necessary consequence of religious insight. Just as we say a blessing before we fulfill a mitzvah, so should prayer and reflection ultimately lead us to deeds. Social action is a religious duty. In the Torah, there are two commitments to love. One of them is found immediately after the Shema. You shall love Adonai with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. The oneness of God is linked to the love of God. The other place where we are commanded to love is apparently directed elsewhere. You shall love your neighbor as yourself, which is actually in this Torah portion. Some understand this to mean that we should love the other because the other is an other. That is, for who he or she or they are, without preconceived notions. Regardless of race or religion, we are to recognize the other as a living being the same way that we each have thoughts, feelings, and families. Each is made in the image of God. Let's join together for the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam, Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam, Le'olam You shall love with all of your heart, your soul, and with all of your might. You shall teach your children to know what's right. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad.
Page 157 in the prayer book, page 175 in the flip book. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness. There is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together.
La 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 la
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Page 162, that day that is a shelter of peace. We sing Vashamru as we join in thinking of the joy of Shabbat, page 180 in the flip book. Next page, 164, 182 in the flip book. We begin together through the first set of prayers, and then you can continue silently just looking at this room or looking out whatever room you're in or catching a little bit of the fading sunlight. We turn to God. We look forward only after we look backward. And so we begin with a recollection of the earliest Jews as we hope that their sacrifices will help awaken us to all the possibility in the future.
Ya la la תפתח, ופי יגיד תהילתך.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Eloi Avotenu v'Imotenu Eloi Avraham Eloi Yitzchak Eloi Yaakov Eloi Sarah Eloi Rivka Eloi Rachel Eloi Leah
El HaGadol HaGibor HaNorah El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Konei HaKol V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imot U'Mevei Geulah Livnei Bneihem Leman Shemo Be'ahava Melech Hazer Moshiach U'Magen Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham V'Ezrat Sarah Ata Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechaye HaKol Ata Rav LaHoshia
Mechachel
Chaim B'Chesed Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim Somech Nofli Berofech Olim U'Matir Asurim U'Mekayem Emunato L'Shegei Afar Michamocha Bal Gevorot U'Midam Melech Melech Memit U'Mechayem U'Matzmiach Yeshua V'Ne'eman Atah L'Chachayot HaKol Baruch Atah Adonai Mechaye HaKol Atah Kadosh V'Shimcha Kadosh U'Kdoshim B'chol Yom V'Lalu Chasela Baruch Atah Adonai.
You guys, okay. Ha'el HaKadosh. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its purpose. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh Shabbat. Blessed are you, O God, who sanctifies the Sabbath day. We take some time for our own private reflection.
shalom bimromav v'yaseh shalom aleinu v'yaseh shalom bimromav v'yaseh shalom
So as the rabbi mentioned earlier, my friend and the current Nifty Torah president, Micah Helbron, and I have been doing a little Torah study each week for, I guess, a couple of months now. So we met to talk about it today on FaceTime, and one of the things that Micah talked about was that this week's Torah portion is a lot of condensed information about laws, and in a lot of ways it contains kind of the core values of Judaism. It's the source of the phrase, love your neighbor as you love yourself, or it's translated a lot of different ways, which Hillel famously told a student was the whole Torah and that the rest was commentary. While it has some amazing ethical lessons that shaped Judaism and modern society, it also has some problematic lines. This portion forbids homosexual relationships, which is obviously outdated at this point. It serves as a perfect reminder that while we let the Torah guide and teach us, we also have to look at it critically in context of its time. This is especially relevant when God covers the ways in which one finds holiness. By following the commandments outlined in this portion, we can be holy just like God. And yet, for women specifically, it may seem as though these laws are not made for us. Most of the laws in the portion are addressed to men or specific to men. In an article, Do Women Experience Holiness Differently?, Rabbi Elise Goldstein writes that certain rabbis of the Talmud interpreted holiness as separation. She explains that in Judaism, there is ritual separation, like meat from milk, Shabbat from weekdays, and of course, which is still in Orthodox communities, male from female, etc. But for women who hold life inside them, separation may not be the key to holiness. She closes by saying that women are constantly finding new ways to achieve holiness, regardless of our separation from some of the laws on how to do so. And the opening line of this portion, Kadoshim, tells us, "You shall be holy," which clearly addresses all of the people of Israel, male and female.
As we prepare to read a little bit of the Torah portion, Kadoshim, holiness, the prayers begin on 364 and 366. If you have a prayer book with you, if you are following with the flip book, that begins on page 382 and then 384 as we take the Torah from the Ark. Ki mitzion tetzei Torah.
Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, ulevar Adonai Kiddushon. Baruch Shem Atan Torah, Torah. Baruch Shem Atan
Torah, Torah, le'amo Yisrael, b'kedushato, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadlu Adonai Iti, Rom Yema, Shemo Yata, Lecha Adonai Hagivu, Ve'agivu Rava Tiferet Ve'hanetza Ve'ahod, Ki kol b'shamayim u'va'aretz, Ki kol b'shamayim u'va'aretz, Lecha Adonai ha'mamlacha, V'yamni na'aseh lechol lerosh. So, as I told Caroline, what?
I was asking if you needed help.
No, I don't. We're not. We're supposed to, even though we're in the same house, we're supposed to represent proper social distancing. I told her we don't have to sing a lot because it's the shortest undressing of Torah ever. We don't need any more music. How can you read the Torah in 5 minutes? They haven't seen this, but many of you have known that at our 7:30 services, to keep you connected, we've still been reading from Torah. If you were at a URJ biennial NIPTY convention, I'm going to let out the secret. They would have a backup B Torah and it would be in another room, and there'd be someone with a yad, and they'd be filming it, and you'd think that you were watching that Torah. It's very impressive. That's how they do that. I'm giving that away. We do not have, as skilled as our temple is, we do not have those resources. Although we have Mark Sloter streaming in the back, and I thank him. We have 2 cameras. Even if we wanted to have an extra camera to film this scroll, that would definitely break social distancing rules. So what we have been doing these last few weeks is reading it this way. And clunky as it is, people have told me to continue doing it. So what we have is this week's Torah portion, and I'm going to get us set to it, and you can see it. And there it is, and the part of the Torah we'll be reading from is right there. And any of you who wish to join in with me can find the Torah blessings on the next page. And it is Kedoshim, it is smack in the middle of the Torah, Leviticus chapter 19. If you want to join in, we will, on the next page, join in the blessings over the reading of Torah. Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach, Baruch Adon Hamvarach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Amim V'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. Amen. And Mark, we're giving you a chance to get in here. And as you can see on the Torah portion, Vayedaber Adonai El Moshe Lemor. God spoke to Moses and said, Daber el kol adat b'nei Yisrael. Speak to all of the children of Israel. And many of the rabbinic commentators point out that sometimes it says, speak to the children of Israel. Here it says, all the children of Israel. It is binding on all men, women, and children. Another commentary suggests that means not only the children of Israel, these laws of holiness, but anybody who lives in their midst. Amarta alehem, and say to them, Kedoshim tiyu ki kadosh ani Adonai Elohechem. You will be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy. Ish imo va'avi tira'u. Your mother and your father you will fear. Notice that's different than the 10 Commandments where it says honor. Ed shabtotai tishmaru. And your Sabbaths, your Shabbats you will keep. Ani Adonai Elohechem. I am the Lord your God. El tifnu el ha'elohim. You will not turn to other gods. Elohim Masecha, and a molten god, Lo ta'asu, you will not make lachem for yourselves. Ani Adonai Elohechem. And the blessing afterwards. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten HaTorah. And before we put the Torah away, yes, a word for all of those who are celebrating. First of all, we should say happy birthday, Israel. It was Yom HaAtzmaut, Israel's birthday, 72 years old. Hard to believe given all that Israel's been through. It is only 72 years old, and yet there it stands as a country aging and fighting for its existence, and we hope being a model for the nation, the world, and so we offer our prayers for the dream of Israel realized, although we know that existence is not enough, and we pray that Israel will continue to work toward being that dream of a country that is a light toward the nations and a model for others. In addition, we have others who celebrate birthdays in May. I made the invitation, anybody who wanted to share their birthday. Not as many called in, but certainly we do want to offer happy birthday blessings to Johnny Hayes, John Salve's son, who is turning I think 12 in just a few. I could have messed that up. But he's having his birthday soon this month. I want to mention Bethany Zimmerman. I want to mention Rachel Zimmerman. And any of you else have anyone you want to give a birthday shout out to? Well, at least I'd give you a chance. So there we go. For you and for anyone else at home or anyone who is watching this service later at night, because we know that like a few dozen people watch it now, and then overnight everybody kind of picks their time on their clock, and we triple that. So if you're watching and saying, wait, it's my birthday, we wish you a happy birthday. We're sorry we can't give you a birthday chocolate, but you can feel free to come up and claim it some other month of birthday blessings when we're actually meeting together. We want to ask that God watch over you and guard you and protect you, that this next year is one of health and opportunity and blessing, that you can return to family and friends together to celebrate. May God watch over you, may God bless you, and may God grant you peace. As we return the Torah to the ark, we join in singing it as a tree of life to all who seek it and hold to it. Page 586 in the prayer book, page 604 in the flip book. We turn toward the ark as we continue with Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabbat l'adom hakol, l'teit gedula l'sereshit, shelo sanu k'kei ha'atzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adamah, shelo sanu k'keinu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, l'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, Lifnei Melech, Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'ne'emar, v'haya Adonai Melech al kol haaretz, v'yom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo, Turn to page 598 or 616 if you're following along on the online flip book, prayer book. On this Shabbat, in addition to the names we're about to mention, we also add the names of 23,700 plus Israelis killed fighting for the state of Israel during its existence. There is a powerful custom in Israel in which the day before Israel Independence Day, Yom HaZikaron, the city stops once in the evening and once in the morning. People get off buses, traffic stops, people put down what they're doing, they put down their phone, their computers. A siren calls throughout the land, and for one moment, whatever their religious or political differences, the country mourns for the sacrifices of those who came before them as one. And so we cannot let this time, even in quarantine, go without an acknowledgement of that day of mourning, even as we celebrated the birth of the state of Israel and that dream. In addition, our prayers go out to the families of all who have been stricken because of this virus. thousands and thousands, over 65,000 we know of in this country, hundreds of thousands in the world. And in addition to them, we mention the names in our own congregation of Bernice Etkoff, who was laid to rest in the 30-day period of mourning known as Shloshim, and the Yartzites, the anniversaries of their deaths, observed this week of Hannah Antwile, Cohen H. Baker, David Bilski, Mina Block, Sandra Tushenblum, Bernard Bodner, Shelley Bovin, Sidney Busher, Adolph Cohen, Burton Davis, John Factor, Nathan Frankel, Morris B. Freed, Nathan Ginsberg, Charlotte Goldman, Dina Gressman, Lucy Hayes, Adela Herbert, Betty Herman, Dora Eckert Herman, Saul K. Lesser, Manfred Rothschild Levy, Rose Eileen Litwin, Henry Loeb, Bernice Lusky, Lisa Micklin, Gershon Myron, Pauline C. Morgan, Edward Oser, Odessa Friedman Plost, Sam Rosenthal, Mimi Ross, Theodore Safran, Lester Schneeweiss, Esther S. Schwartz, Pearl Schwartz, William Schwartz, Evelyn Simon, Duncan Thomas Ware, Betty Weltman, James Weltman, Louis Weltman, Douglas Watley, Sophia Williams, Victor S. Young. As we think of them and others who may live in our hearts and our deeds, for whom Yortzeit is not observed, but still the memory is powerful at this time of isolation, we join together in the words of Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabba, b'almal divrach yerutei v'amlich malchutei, b'chayi chon v'yomei chon, b'chayi d'chol beit Yisrael, b'agalal v'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam ulamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yital shmei d'kudsha brichu, Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, damiram bialmal v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May God, who brings strength to those who are in mourning, bring strength and courage to all who are in need. And let us say, Amen. First, thank you both. Thank you so much for this wonderful service. As camp lives with us, we are so appreciative. Before we turn to our closing song, a reminder, we did change the time of this service because, and by the way, it's really easy to change the time of a service when you're streaming it. If we weren't, we couldn't have done this because people would be showing up at 7:30 who didn't realize. But none of you should be. So for those of you getting on now or who say, oh my gosh, I came on in the middle of the service, I didn't realize, in about 30 minutes this service will be available on our YouTube channel archive. It just takes a little bit of time to load up and get ready. So if you came on late, you can go back to the beginning and watch it then. Service will be there. Thank you for your patience. Thank you again to Mark for streaming the service. One of the reasons we did that is because tonight Green Family Camp is offering a longer service song session opportunity to join together, whether you're a camper, alumni, whatever it is, you just want to camp at your service. That begins in 20 minutes. You have to pre-register. So you can go back to my email earlier today, and you can go on that link and register and join us and others in just a short while. Our closing song, a good camp song.
About message to the ones too young to have learned. The time is short and there's so much to do. Don't waste a moment of what's given you. Don't waste a moment, 'cause you'll never see it return. Like those stars in the sky. Stars in the sky. Bring the summer right back to me. Tell me you'll try to think about me whenever you see those stars in the sky. Stars in the sky. Stars in the sky.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Thank you. A good and easy and safe week.